Hi, I'm Carsten Spencer. Welcome to FlashForum, Enlightening Entertainment. I'm very excited because today my first guest is Nelsie Spencer, who is my sister, and I'm really excited to be able to interview her. So, welcome, Nelsie.
Hi, Cart. Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome. Really glad to have you. And what we're doing here in the studio today is we've got her live via Skype, and this is the first time I've done a Skype interview. So please bear with us as I push the buttons, because the wonderful thing about this Flash studio is, it's the wonderful thing and it's the challenge, is there's no technical people. I'm doing it all here. I've got all my little buttons to push. So the amazing thing about technology is it does allow me to be able to be talking to my sister in New York. What time is it back there in New York City, Nels?
It's 2014. It's a couple of years later here. No, it's only it's 4:31 here.
Really?
You know, us New Yorkers, we're very avant-garde. So we're
Yes.
2 years ahead of you guys that are on the West Coast.
Right. So what I'd like to do first is just talk about, tell us some about some what you're planning for the new year. What's your vision for this coming year?
Well, my vision for this new year is to be happy, joyous, and free. And so, on a personal level, I want to have happy, loving, joyful relationships. And on a family level, same thing: happy, enriching, satisfying, joyful relationships. And in my career life, I think I want to quadruple my income. And most importantly, one of my films is being shot. I co-wrote a movie called The Valley Inn, which is a little indie movie that we're going to shoot. It's slated to shoot in Arkansas this coming June and July, super low budget. So I'm really excited about that. And another thing that I have envisioned for 2013 is my romantic comedy, A Girl's Best Friend, has been optioned, and that is hopefully going to shoot also in 2013. And I'm also hoping to grow my business. I'm a ghostwriter in addition to being a screenwriter, and I also work as a writing teacher and coach. So I want that to grow. One thing I do is I do something called the Round Table, which is a teleconference where I work with writers, whatever the genre, helping them really fulfill their vision as writers. And that's something I love to do, and I started that last year, and I'm hoping to grow that.
Great, and that's something that I have been part of. We're going to get into a little bit some of the stuff that we've done in the background, some of our history. I want to talk a little bit about the cabaret shows that we did together, sibling rivalry, and some of the other early stuff. But yeah, Nelsie's writing workshop, Nelsie's Roundtable, is an amazing experience for me. It's got me back writing again. I'm really excited about what I'm doing. I've written a couple of plays as well, aside from my spiritual life, which I'll be sharing about during this show. What this show is really about for me, it's bringing those two parts of me together: my spiritual life, the yoga, the meditation, all the all my spiritual journey back together with my entertainment, theater, writing, performing part of myself, because I really see that they all fit together. And you were talking about the prosperity part of your vision for 2013. And with the clients that I work with, I see that it's so important to be doing what we love, taking steps towards what we love, because that's part of being able to allow stuff in. And I so much see amazing things, Nelsie, happening for you this year, because aside from the one that's happening in Arkansas, what's the name of it again?
Valley
The
Inn.
Valley Inn. Yeah, aside from the Valley Inn, which I'm hoping there might be a part for me in it, Nelsie's written an amazing screenplay called A Girl's Best Friend. And I have to say, when I read the screenplay, it stuck with me for days. Not only did I laugh hysterically during it, I kept actually getting jealous. And you know it's something good if I'm thinking, oh, I can't believe my sister wrote this. I wish I had written this. And then the other thing that kept happening is I kept forgetting that you had written that, I was reading something you had written, because I was so lost in the story and the characters. I don't want to tell too much about what the plot is, so I'll let you share a little bit about that. But it's an amazing story, and being part of this round table is so wonderful. The writers, the quality of writing is amazing, and the feedback and the support that you feel from the people. And once again, Nelsie blows me away because, it's your sister, so family members, you'd say, oh, this is who they are. You have an idea in your head, but you show up each week with such loving, powerful, really gifted feedback and an understanding of how to structure the story, how to get people to really put them, their heart and themselves into the story. So it's really been wonderful. Excuse me, wonderful, so wonderful. I'm choking. Um,
Thank
but
you, Cart. Thanks so much.
You're really welcome. But
Did you want to ask me a question, or you want me to respond to that?
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, my journey's been interesting as an artist. I started out as actually a dancer in high school and college, and then in college I became an actor. I switched majors, and then I came to New York and I acted. And with my best friend, I co-wrote a two-character play called My Heart Belongs to Daddy. That we had some pretty good level of success in that, and I just found eventually. And then I had two kids, did stand-up comedy, and I found myself making this transition from being a performer to being a writer. And in 2003, my novel came out called The Playgroup, which was about a woman who has an identity crisis as a result of becoming a mother. And it's about a lot of things, but it's very funny and sexy, but hopefully also has a real good heart journey in it. But so I did this sort of transition in my life from performer to writer, and during that time, when I was writing my screenplay, my novel, I worked one-on-one with this writing coach, Lou Stanek, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, but she was wonderful, and I learned so much from her in the way that she supported me, and it's been really.
Oops. Well, it looks like we lost Nels. I guess this is the challenge of Skype, and so. Nels, if you can hear me, you need to call back in. And in the meantime, I'm going to share a little bit about some of the things that we did together in the past. Nelsie moved to New York first. She got accepted at a really wonderful acting program, the Neighborhood Playhouse. So she went back, and I headed back to New York about maybe a year or so later. I actually went on a game show and won a couple $100. So, of course, compared nothing to Nelsie, who was on Password Plus a year earlier, which helped finance her trip to New York, and she won $28,000 on Password Plus. So, once again, there was sibling rivalry there. I went on and won some money and encouraged her to go on, and she went on and won this huge amount, which ultimately was really exciting. But once I got back to New York, the two of us were back there. I was a dancer as well. Used to teach dance class out in Southern California before I moved back to New York. Once I got back to New York, I think this is Nelsie trying to call back in, I hope. Anyway, we'll see. We'll pull her in. But in the meantime, sharing a little bit about some of the work we did in New York City, we decided to put a cabaret show together and call it Sibling Rivalry, which, it was before that movie of Sibling Rivalry came out in the later 80s. And basically, we just got up and did what we've been doing all our lives, but I think this is Nelsie. Oopsie. Let's see, Nelsie online. How to do this. Call started. I don't know. Video call. Maybe this is it. Here we go. All right. I'm calling her. I figured this out. So thank you for hanging in there. I think we've got her. Nelsie, there?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Beautiful. That's okay. I was just sharing with everybody about sibling rivalry. I'm going to see if I can get your video face back up here. I think I pushed this video button, maybe. No, video's turned off. How do we turn video back on? Okay.
Hang on. I've got an icon here. No. I think I have to recall you, maybe.
I don't think so. I think you should be able to push video. Your video is turned off. Oh, no, there's no
But I'm
my.
looking, I have a little video icon,
And are you down in the
and
corner?
it's got a line through it. And as I try to, I push it, but the line continues to go through it. Let me see.
Okay.
You know what? I might have to close another window. Sometimes that's the problem.
Okay. Well, figure it out. I'm looking at the thing here. We'll see if you pop up. But in the meantime, I've been sharing about sibling rivalry. So we got together and we put together a couple of cabaret. What did we do? Two or three?
We did three.
Three sibling rivalry shows where we sang, we did comedy, we did this silly thing where we did a whole medley from West Side Story. And I played Anita. I did not dress in drag. Well, at least not for that skit. There were other ones where I actually dressed as Mrs. Howell.
Mrs. Howell from Gilligan's
From
Island.
Gilligan's Island.
I'm pretty sure, Card, I have to recall you.
Okay, recall
I'm
me.
going to try that, okay?
Yeah, go ahead and call back. Well, this is good. It's just me. It's just you and me now as Nelsie's calling back in. Uh, but we were doing the West Side Story medley. The a boy like that will kill your brother. Forget that boy and find another. And so I was playing Anita, but without drag, just as myself. And that was Nelsie signing off again. And then Nelsie was playing Maria as a slightly, how should we say it, mentally challenged. This is her calling in. Let me see. Call started. Call started. Nelsie Spencer online. Nelsie. Let's see back. Video call. Here we go. Well, I see her here. It's connecting. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Thank you for hanging in there. So, anyway, I'm realizing as I'm sharing about it, it's something you would really have to see. But it was very funny and very crazy. I don't know what's happening here. Now it says Nelsie is offline. Make a voice call. Home call. Well, let me share a little bit about the FlashForum. I was lucky enough to have a good friend say, "Hey, go down to Bay Area Video Coalition, which is right here in San Francisco on Mariposa Street, and you can get your own TV show." And in the '80s, once again, when I was back in New York doing this my entertainment thing with my sister, some of the things that I did that was not with my sister, actually after some of these cabaret shows, it was when public access was just starting out. Cable was getting big. Suddenly we had, instead of the usual 13 stations, that for those of you who are of a certain age remember that, we used to just have 13 stations, and a lot of those wouldn't even come in. Let's see, in Southern California we had 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and then the PBS station, the public station, which was channel 13. And then cable came in, and all these channels started coming in, and that was not long before I moved to New York. When I got to New York, I found out that they were opening up what they called the public access stations, and you could actually go in and get your own show. So I decided I want my own TV show. So I saved some money. I bought a video camera, and back then the video cameras were about this big and very heavy, and you had to put in these big tape cassettes. But I bought my camera and began filming my show. And one of the characters I did on the show was Salima Shrill. She was an international origami expert, and 3-time winner of the coveted Paper Tiger Award. And I'm in the process of getting some of those early tapes back, and we're going to share them on this show in the future, so you'll be able to see some of my earlier incarnations. So I'm not sure what's happening with Nelsie. Let me see if I can. Oh, she's online now. Good. So let me give her a call. Nelsie, online video call. Here we go. All right. It says connecting. It's ringing. Let's see if she's going to be here. Hello.
It worked.
Oh my God, she's here. Let me take. There she is. Welcome back. All right. So where were we?
I think I was talking about how I ended up working with authors.
Oh yeah.
To,
Okay. Yep. Absolutely.
yeah. So, so after having had this experience working, writing my novel with Lou Stanek, and the way she and I would work together is I would write pages, and then I would meet with her, and I'd read the pages aloud, and which was kind of unorthodox and compared to what I had experienced. I'd been to other workshops where you go to workshops and everybody sends their work to each other in an email, and I never had great experience with workshops. I often felt that the teacher didn't really control the class that well, and that the feedback wasn't always helpful, and that whether intentionally or not, sometimes there can be competition in that arena, which I don't think is helpful in a creative setting. So what I loved about working with Lou is that I would read my stuff aloud, and in reading it, I would hear it in a different way than reading it on the page. And so oftentimes I would know what notes she was going to give me before she gave it. So I would go, oh, well, I know that section doesn't quite work, or that area is clumsy, or... So after the playgroup was published, and somewhere, I guess around in 2006, I decided that I wanted to start working with writers and in a workshop setting, and did that and created all these ground rules. You know, the only way you're allowed to, first of all, when you give feedback, you have to start off with something that's supportive and loving and positive. And after that, you can never say, oh, that would never happen. And you also have to be really careful about the language you use, because it's very vulnerable to share your art. It's an extremely vulnerable thing to write. And whether what you're writing is actually, you're admitting that it's autobiographical or not, oftentimes it's autobiographical couched in fiction, or no matter what, it's just such a personal thing. So for me, to make the setting safe was the most important thing. And so I did that for a couple of years, and more recently, I decided to figure out a way to make it more accessible, which is how and why I came up with the round table, which is you don't have to, you could do it from your bathtub. It's teleconference, and it encourages people to, come up with a regular writing. It's not just a workshop. It's really a support system. So we sometimes have people, like we had just recently, had 2 members come, and they were having writer's block, and so the group helped them find their way past the writer's block. You experienced
Yes,
that, right?
I was one of them with the writer's block, and I have to say that even though we had that 3-week break over the holidays, I still have not written anything. But the great thing about the way you teach, and just the atmosphere that you create, is that I didn't beat myself up about it, and I would have, but I remembered the last call where you said, even if you don't write, it's okay. Don't ever use this as an excuse to beat yourself up. So as soon as I let go of that, I realized that even though I wasn't writing, it was on my mind. I'm thinking about it, and I think partly I'm getting clear about where I want to go. And the other thing that I discovered on my little phone is, it's been amazing in sending text. I can push a little microphone button and speak into my phone. I don't have to struggle with my poor little thumbs. And what I also realized is, I figured, well, if I can do this with texting, there must be another way to do it. So I just pushed note to self, and I realized it now sends it automatically to my email. So I can sit there and talk into my phone, have it go to my email, so I don't even have to type. And since what I'm working on is it's a live piece, it's a theater piece, it's like another one-man show, which is what got me, it's actually what got us working together. I did a one-man show, and then I thought, wow, it would be really fun to work together, so we put together Sibling Rivalry. So I'm kind of full circle, I'm back to that again. And the interesting thing about a one-man show, since it's theater, to have something that I can just push the button and speak it, it seems like it's more powerful. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully that will result in me having some pages for next Tuesday.
Well, one of the things about writing is that even when you're not writing, if you can get yourself writing on a regular basis, even if it's only 15 minutes a day, even when you're not writing, you're working on it. I'm working right now with a ghostwriting client, and she and I had a 3-hour Skype session yesterday. And, I just noticed that when I'm walking around, I'm thinking about her story. And I was like, you know what? I think we need to start with that scene. I think we should start with that scene, and, it underscores this. And so even when you're not writing, you're working on it. And I love the fact that, thank God for technology. I love the fact that you just grab your phone and speak right into it. And, you make a really good point that when you're writing for the stage and you're writing specifically, a one-man show, it's a very different process than writing prose or even writing a play for someone else, because you want to be comfortable in your own skin when you're up there. You want it to sound like you, obviously, and one of the best ways it can sound like you is speaking. Stand-up, when I was doing stand-up comedy, I stood in the room and talked to myself. That I would often write stuff, but then once you write
Nelsie,
it, you have
you
to
used,
speak it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you used to do that a lot, just stand in a room and talk to yourself. That was one of the reasons we were kind of worried about you growing up. But I'm glad when you got into the comedy, we were so happy that you were making it work.
That I actually I could do something with it, and you guys weren't going to have to commit me. That was nice. Yeah. For a while.
So, talk about your memories of sibling rivalry. I'd love to hear what what was your favorite skit or thing that we did?
Oh God, it's so funny because I was just first of all, you dressed as Mrs. Howell was pretty fabulous, and I'll tell them about the skit.
Well, and I want to say that she was supposed to. Oh well, okay. Tell them the skit. You're the guest. You talk. I'm zipping my lip.
Here was the concept of the skit, that Cardi shows up dressed as Mrs. Howell, and he's expecting me to show up dressed as Thurston, as Mr. Howell. For those of you who don't know Gilligan's Island, go to TV Land or Nick at Night and watch it, or Hulu or whatever. And so this was an older, rich couple that was stranded on the island. But the premise of the sketch is that instead of me showing up as Mr. Howell, I show up as Ginger, who's the beautiful young movie star that happens to be stranded on the island. And so the sketch becomes all about Cardi in character as Mrs. Howell, being outraged that I'm there as Ginger because, of course, I look fabulous, and he's in drag. So that's one of my favorite things. Cardi and I, when we were writing this, screamed with laughter. We loved it. It was such a funny concept. We thought, but I don't think it really played. Although Heather loved it, right?
Who?
A few people really loved it.
A few people really liked it. A lot of Stuart, my good friend's father, was there, and he didn't get it at all.
It was a little obtuse. But that's one of my favorites. Also, I was listening to the radio the other day, and Let's Dance came on, David Bowie's song. We opened the show with Let's Dance, I believe, where it's this crazy sort of this mix between us being funky, like really dancing, and then we do ballet in the middle of it. I believe. Are you wearing a dance belt, Cardi?
Yes. I was wearing my dance belt with 2 or 3 socks. I mean, if I'm going to be in public with a dance belt, I want to have something there to show. And, that's really what dance belts are all about. And I did take a ballet class the other day. Did I tell you?
First of all, a dance belt is the dance world's version of a jock strap for the guys, for those of you who don't know.
And anyone who's been to the ballet realizes that for the male dancers, that's a big part of it. They may have always had the stereotype that male dancers, especially ballet dancers, are very gay or whatever. But to sort of counteract that point, they all had these dance belts with quite nice packages right up front.
As you just said, a very big part.
A very big part, right? But yes, I was wearing a dance belt and tights, and it was. I mean, I just thinking about it in my mind. I'm laughing at how
it ended in shoulder lift. The beginning.
I did lift you,
Remember?
didn't I? Yes, I do.
It ended, I lifted Cardi. No, just kidding. He lifted me onto his shoulder, and I bet today he could still do that.
I know I probably could, although I don't think I would risk it. Um, well, what I want to hear more about is your stand-up comedy.
Well, I did stand up for, I think, probably only about 2 years, maybe between 2 and 3 years, and that was um, right before I became a mom. As a matter of fact, the last stand up routine I did was at Caroline's in New York, and I was 5 months pregnant. And all my it seemed like all my bits had become about, I don't know, lactating or something. I don't know. Uh, I remember you and Stuart were there, and I remember Stuart saying, "No, how funny I was," but I didn't feel like it was a great set. But I did stand up for a while, and I loved it. I love doing stand up. It's a very, very, it's just fun. It's fun to be on stage, performing your own stuff, but also, and it's scripted to a certain extent, but having the leeway of ad libbing, and I really loved it. I love doing stand up. Um, I didn't find it that scary, and but it's a very tough lifestyle. In those days, you're in smoky clubs. That was when people used to be able to smoke, surrounded by you know playing to drunks. So it's a fairly tough lifestyle, but doing stand up is so much fun. I really loved it,
Yeah.
and I fantasize actually about doing it again.
Now, believe it or not, we are coming to the end of our 28 minutes that we have here. And so before we do, number one, I want to see if I can talk you into coming back for another show because we had some technical difficulties and there's still so much to talk about. But I want to spend the last few minutes just having you tell people about how they can find out about your writing workshop, because it's the wonderful thing about doing it via the internet and conference call is anybody, no matter where you are, can be part of it.
Thanks, Cart. First of all, of course, I'll come back. And secondly, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about the round table. The idea for the round table came to me. I woke up one morning, or maybe I was in a bath, and I just thought, okay, what is it about workshops that don't work? They're too expensive. They end just when you're getting going, and you have to go somewhere. It's cold out. I don't really want to go. But if you don't go, you feel like crap because they're so expensive. So I wanted to make it financially accessible and accessible that you don't even have to leave your home. And I wanted to make it a safe environment. So I came up with the idea for the round table, and it's like you pay quarterly. It's only $240 for 12 sessions, so it's very affordable. So if you miss, it's not a big deal. We want to make it so everyone can share every week, but if you don't share, that's okay. Many of my clients say, many of the members of the roundtable say it's so helpful just to come and hear other people's work, to get inspired by it, to hear about what kind of feedback they get. And it's once a week, and it's via teleconference, and you can go to my website. Just Google me, Nelsie Spencer. It's a Wix website, but you can just Google me and you'll find it. And it's right there on my website, and you can register, and it's a blast. Art?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just was putting up the little icon that has your name up there so people can see. Nelsie Spencer. It's same with Carsten Spencer. We have unique enough names, so you just have to type our name into Google, and the miracle about the internet is, there we are.
There we are, and you
there.
can register via PayPal, and you could start next Tuesday.
And it's wonderful, and I'm on it, and you will actually be able to hear my process as I write this one-man show, and that's the great thing. I mean, I feel like these people that I've never met who are on the conference calls with us, I feel like I know them in such an amazing personal way because they're, I'm hearing their stories each week. So, and I think the other thing that I'm going to see if I can switch this. Oh, there's just me. Here's just me. The amazing thing about the writer's workshop is that it's ongoing. There's no, it's not over until you've finished writing your thing, and it's also there to support you in sending out letters, in making connections of how to, because Nelsie is a published author. She's written a book. She's got one screenplay that's, you've already got a shooting schedule for A Girl's Best Friend. And you're in the process of putting this other project together that hopefully, so this is what I was trying to tell them earlier. There'll have to be for the next show. We're going over. Thank you for watching. There's so much. Nelsie is coming back. Flash Forum with Carsten Spencer. Light and love, everybody. Happy New Age.